Hey guys, this is Caspi with Tape, and today you join me at Cathenia's Valley for episode 16 of Fall of Kerbin. And we are dispatching a P-3B Python attacker with 1,500 pounds of bombs because we have an imminent threat. There is a massive force of tanks building up 100 kilometers from Cathenia's Valley, preparing to take it and then move to Cathenia's heart. And we cannot have that because then we lose the war. So today, we are going to fight back against this invasion, and we are going to do it with extreme force. So, the first thing I'm doing is obviously dropping some bombs to try and kind of test the waters, feel out his AA defenses, and hopefully take out one of those boas. These are heavy tanks based on World War II Tiger tanks, which are pretty deadly and may be able to eviscerate anything. You can see his fighters are scrambling to try and take me down, but we'll be able to drop our bombs before they're a problem. However, they will be on me very quickly because they are just very nippy, very fast fighters. So we start diving down. We're going to release the 500-pound bomb first, and then the 1,000-pound bomb when we're a little closer, and hopefully do some serious damage. I think that one's going to miss because I think I pulled up a little bit. The 1,000-pound bomb goes away, and we just run away, just GTFO. Because we do not want to face all of this flak fire. There's a lot of 20 mils down there, there's 37mm emplacements, there is a lot of AA fire, and now the fighters are upon us. It looks like those bombs just missed, which is really annoying because we only have 3 attackers and there are 3 tanks. So what I'm doing now is diving down towards the surface because those AA guns are on a ridge, so if I'm close enough to the surface, they won't be able to hit me. However, there is a slew of gunfire coming from me from those fighters. I am by myself right now in this little plane, and I will not be able to take them on conventionally. So, I get a little burst of inspiration. I notice the Cathenian mountains over there, and I decide that's where we're going. I'm going to stick close to the ground to try and avoid gunfire, and I'm going to lead them into the mountains and either lose them or kill them. You can see we're just running here, still avoiding gunfire. They have a lot of 50 caliber ammunition on there, and they could do some serious damage. They have 450 caliber guns, I only have 2. Anyway, I'm just still sticking close to the ground as I pull up on this slope. It looks like one of the planes over there has just hit the ground. I think that's a glitch, so we'll just put that back. But anyway, we are just still running. I was hoping that as I dive down here, they'd lose sight of me and just leave me alone. They don't, however, so we're going to have to do a little bit of fancy flying. We are going to have to try and lose them or kill them in these mountains. Now, there are too many planes for me to be able to take them all out, but hopefully we'll be able to shoot down one or lead one into a crash, which is a legitimate way of killing planes. It was how the first aircraft kill was done in Operation Desert Storm, and I'm a big fan of it. So we're in the mountains now, finding some terrain while they push over the mountains, and will soon be upon me. So again, I dive low because that is my strategy, is just hide near the ground, and I'm going to hug this surface, try and get them behind me so that I can lead them into, again, a crash. I'm not sure how effective that will be because the AI pilot with BD Armory is quite good at avoiding collisions, but I, too, am a skilled pilot. But now they are upon me, getting ready to take me down. Now, these have tail guns. They don't seem to be using them right now, which is lucky. I'm not entirely sure why. I try to take some shots at the one in front of me as it passes me by, but I can't quickly get a shot on. I use mouse aim flight mod, but the problem with mouse aim flight mod right now is it seems to just lock up and I lose my aim. So I am kind of stuck here, but luckily one of the fighters dives down to try and shoot me, misses, and slams into the ground before it can pull up, which, yes, my plan has worked. We've taken down one of them. But I'm not sure I'll be able to do that many times. It was just lucky that he was diving for me and, well, fatefully hit the ground. But I do a little bit of very fancy flying. You can see me ducking over these mountains, just avoiding gunfire. I didn't really have a plan at this point. I knew I couldn't make them all crash, so I'm just evading for as long as possible and hopefully maybe lining up some shots with my 250 cals. 250 cals, not a lot of gunfire, but can take down a plane if I'm lucky. So we dive down here again, just avoiding. And you can see that one of Penguin's planes almost hits the ground, but pulls up at the last millisecond up in here. It just, that was so close, but it did manage to evade. That was very impressive. Anyway, I get the fighter, the Falcon, in my sights and start trying to shoot at it. I don't have mouse aim flight mod working because it's too screwy, so I am lining up some semi-accurate shots, but nothing's hitting. I pull up almost into a stall, dive away, but because I'm moving too slowly now, one of the vultures finds me and eliminates me with its 50 caliber guns, ripping off my wing, my tail, and I plummet into the ground. But one of the Kruolan fighters did crash as well, so I guess it's an eye for an eye. But if we are to continue doing this, we will need to take out some of these planes. But I don't have any fighters to launch this turn. But I do have these 3 interceptors that were in the south. I've brought them up here so that they can take off and do some fighting. They are not the ideal fighters. They are for going very fast and shooting down primarily bombers, but they're all we have. We're spread thin right now, so we've brought them here. Three interceptors against 3 attackers and a fighter. But hopefully the speed of these interceptors and their relative maneuverability, they are pretty nippy. Hopefully they'll be able to do some damage. They have 2 20mm Hispano cannons, which are pretty deadly but don't have a great rate of fire. But anyway, we turn around to go and attack them. Now that we're out of load range, the lag will be a little better. Yeah, so we're just leading them away, as I said, and now we're going to turn in and attack them. I release my wingmen, and I set this to use to fly in as well with the pilot. However, pretty much instantly, the BD Armory pilot screws up. All of my planes go into just like a dead spin. One of them actually gets... Oh, you didn't see that yet. One of them gets shot down. You can see the wing is ripped off and he tumbles into the ground. That's pretty annoying, but I am not deterred. Both of me and Penguin have to deal with this, and Penguin did last episode, so I will, of course, be carrying on. We've only lost 1 interceptor. Surely we can take down some planes with the 2 we have left. I'm blaming BD Armory Wingman for this control issues right now, but there's so many mods that I'm not really sure. Anyway, we do start lining up and taking some fire and trying to get into good positions, but you can see we're having some control issues, a bit of locking up, and I can't use mouse aim flight mod, so my aim's going to be fairly limited, but yeah, you can see the controls lock up again, but I gain them back pretty quickly. We get a nice shot of one of the attackers crashing into the ground, mercifully. I don't know exactly why that happened. When I saw it, I was like, is that a control issue? Or I don't know. But anyway, it's dead. That's the important bit. We try and take some very inaccurate shots at some attackers that are close to us, but nothing comes of it. Then we have a fighter on our tail. This is very edited because this took quite a while. But yeah, we do quite a lot of fighting. We had a fighter on our tail, and I come around and try and shoot him. But you can see I'm just having control issues, and also the guns aren't particularly fast firing, so it's quite hard to get an accurate shot on, is what I found in this dogfight. But I do line up some fairly accurate shots. I've started to learn how to use the mouse and keyboard a little better for dogfighting now that I can't use mouse in flight. And we're getting some fairly accurate shots, but they're just not hitting because they're not they don't have a very good rate of fire. Anyway, yes, we pull around and try and get more shots. You can see we're just taking pot shots throughout this dogfight, getting some pretty accurate things, but having control issues ultimately really hamstringing my ability to kill anything. Yeah, and even when one gets very close, I get almost the perfect shot lined up, start firing, and then the controls lock up and I lose it. But we still have two interceptors alive, and you can see we almost get a shot there in that very close fighter, which would have been nice to shoot down. And we're going to turn around and try and take it as well. There's one right there which would be nice to shoot. It comes right at me, but we don't turn quickly enough. And it escapes, and we see our wingman get torn apart by 50 caliber bullets, which is not super great to see. But anyway, we are not deterred. There is still me. I can still do this. And I pull around and get a shot off, and it hits one of the buzzards. Not buzzards, one of the vultures, and it tumbles into the ground. So yes, we have taken down 2 planes for the cost of 2 planes, which isn't bad. We really do need to take out these attackers because they'll also be able to bomb out anything that I leave at Cathenia's heart, should I do so. So that's the main goal here, really, and also to soften the AA defenses. But anyway, after taking a few more shots at various things, a little bit of jousting here in which no one dies, I start to run pretty low on ammo. So I just decide to run away, which is very easy in an interceptor because it's much faster than everything else. We just run away. So yeah, we get 1 interceptor back. It's not ideal, but that was a decent enough dogfight. Even with the control issues, we still managed to take down two enemies for the loss of 2. So I'm pretty happy. The AA they'll be much less formidable at shooting down my attackers I'm going to send subsequently. So that's pretty good. And you can see we're just escaping now. But yes, the Kruolan Air Force is really feeling the heat now. So we send in another attacker. And now only 2 fighters scramble, which is nice. We're going to try and take out this boa again, because it would just be nice to kill one. And this one has, well, the last time I tried to bomb it, you saw that they missed. So we loosed the 500-pound bomb, and we're going to loose the 1,000-pound bomb a little later. The amount of bombs I'm carrying means that I can only have two guns and a tail gun. Well, 2 front guns and a tail gun, and 1 box of ammo, so I'm not really equipped for dogfighting. So, yeah, we're hoping that we can get away again. I'm going to probably pull the same kind of mountainous maneuvers as before. But yeah, the bombs miss again, not doing any damage to that boa. We, once again, dodge all of this flak fire, but the fighters are firing it as much less than last time, because there now are only 2 instead of 5. Like on our first attack, and we are going to run for the mountains, because that is where I am safe, and I think I can actually lose them this time. But when I'm doing a little bit of fancy flying, staying close to the ground, one of the vultures, well, the vulture, gets nice and close to us, and we decide that he should be dead. He's within a kilometer range now, so we fire up the tail gun, and he is ripped to shreds. Can you see? Yeah, ripped to shreds. There's a nice explosion, and he tumbles into the ground, which is rather glorious. So now we just have to deal with that fighter. And you can see it explodes on the ground quite nicely there. Rather perfect. Anyway, yes, so we lead the fighter into the mountains. It's now 1-to-1, although he has 20mm guns and I have 50s. He is much more maneuverable, and I am not. But yeah, after a little bit of trying to get him to crash into the mountains, which he won't do because he's in too much of a maneuverable plane, and he's probably learned from last time. Even when I go into the biggest of valleys, he just won't really get very close to me and won't hit the mountains. I think he's just getting confused because I keep dipping out of his view range. So I decide I must kill him with guns. Even though I am outgunned, I can still do some damage. He might even be out of ammo at this point, I'm not sure. But yes, so we start lining up shots terribly. Actually didn't get any shots off there because he was flying right at me. A little later, we fire some more bullets, but they do little because I'm having trouble aiming. Obviously, you know, no mouse aim flight mod. And after much persistence and flying close to the ground, which I'm rather proud of, I like flying close to the ground. Alpine combat, a lot of fun. A lot of alpine combat. This, although alpine with planes, not with people. It's still alpine combat. Anyway, we line up some more shots, but then the controls lock up a bit, and we don't get it. But eventually, mercifully, while we're pulling up, seconds away from a stall, we let off some shots, they miss, but then again, seconds away from a stall, we let off a few more shots, and they rip off a wing, and he tumbles into the ground. We are victorious. We've destroyed the entire Kruolan Air Force, which is rather nice. There'll be less stuff to attack us next time, and less stuff to defend this time. It slams into the mountain, and we fly right past it, waving, or making a slightly less polite symbol, because he has killed many a person, many a Cathenian pilot. But yes, we are victorious, so now we can send in the final attack and hopefully do some damage. I'm actually going for a different tactic now. I'm going to try and bomb the one that is on the ridge, because I have a plan that would be good if there wasn't a heavy tank with long-range capabilities on the ridge. Yeah, we might want that not to be a thing. So we drop our bombs. They're looking semi-accurate. I don't know. I'm not an amazing dive bomber. Penguin seems to have it down to a T. He's quite good at it, I guess. I seem to be getting better at dogfighting and tank combat. But sadly, though, in our dive, we get our wing torn off and we tumble into the ground. But the bombs did hit the boa. It is not dead, but it is damaged. Now, I'd love to go and look at it, but I can't really, because that would be a little bit cheaty, because now we're rolling in the tanks. You're damn right. So, we have 3 medium tanks heading towards the ridge to finish this, because we can't withstand an invasion to Cathenia's Valley. They'll just bomb out the tanks, they'll come in, and they'll just ruin everything. So what we're going to do is assault this ridge. Now, there's already gunfire coming in from that damaged boa, and I'm not returning fire because we're about 5 kilometers out right now. Which means that these guns are very inaccurate, because these are medium tanks. They have 76mm guns, and they won't hit at 5 kilometers, and we don't want to waste all of our ammo because we have limited ammo. But anyway, these shots start flying in, and they're worrying, because this is like an 86mm Tiger turret. They're getting very close to our tanks, and yeah, it would have been nice to properly destroy that tank on the ridge, but it will be defending, and a shot flies in and hits one of our tanks. It is not totally devastating, but it does mean that it isn't going to be able to follow this tank. We start returning fire kind of desperately because, well, we gotta just kill this because we're still way out, and there's a little ridge I'm heading for right now to be safe behind, but not for now. So we leave this here and move on with the other tanks, trying to get behind this ridge that you can kind of see over on the left there, which will give us cover from gunfire. We're returning fire, trying to take down this tank, but they don't seem to be actually shooting at the tank. They seem to be shooting at some AA guns. Another shot flies in, just misses from the boa. It's rather deadly. Luckily, though, there is only one boa that can shoot us while we're approaching. Penguin didn't put them all on the same ridge, but because he didn't want them to be bombed. But if he had put another one on there, this probably would have been impossible. Maybe just further down the ridge. But, you know, live and learn, I guess. It was very lucky for us. But another shot flies in and hits the tank that is stationary. I've realized that I cannot just leave it here to be picked apart by this boa. We need all three tanks for the assault. So I start backing it up. And I'm going to drive both of these tanks all of these tanks at the same time. These two using burn together to move together, and the other one just being pushed by me. We get close to this ridge where we'll be safe, but this tank is still just listing behind, and it started rolling down the hill. I'm actually driving it backwards, so it's got thin armor facing the gun, and it's also kind of stopped, and another shot is coming in really close, and oh god, it looks like it's coming, and it slams into the back, ripping off the back of the tank. We just need to get this behind that ridge right now. The other tanks, they're not taking fire. This needs to get behind that little ridge where it won't be shot, and it needs to start returning fire because we've got to kill this tank. If we get over that ridge and haven't killed this tank, we're pretty much screwed because there's a lot of guns on this ridge. You can't see it right now because we can't have vessel labels on in tank combat because it makes it too easy. But there are two light tanks, a damaged heavy tank, and a bunch of emplacements on that ridge. So if we get too close, we're going to be ripped apart. The shot's still coming in very close, but we are returning fire with this tank now. We just need to get some hits in, and all of the other ones are now also returning fire. We are outgunning this tank. We're close enough. We're close to about 3 kilometers, I believe, and we should be getting some shots on that boa now, which is very important. And you can actually see an explosion just went off. We hit the tank. It has taken a nasty hit. And it looks like another one. You can't really see because it's behind the ridge. But we are getting some hits on this tank now, which means we might be able to take it down before it tears us all apart. But we do need to get behind this ridge for some cover because it is returning fire. That 86 mil is going to fuck us up pretty savage. So anyway, I turn off burn together, and we see another hit on the ridge, yes. And we turn off burn together so we can move these tanks independently. That one is going to be basically our sniper while this one moves to cover. We get another hit, a big hit. That looks like some serious damage. And eventually the final hit goes in, and the boa is destroyed. We lost about half a tank, and we managed to destroy about half a tank, so yeah. Anyway, we send out the damaged tank as a bit of a scout to see what's up. We send him over the ridge to face the music, and he starts firing at something. I'm not entirely sure what. I think it's an emplacement up on that ridge, and it explodes. I think if I were Penguin, that's where I would have put the other boa. It would have been hard to bomb both of them, and I would not have been able to do this. But anyway, we are doing this, and we're starting to shoot at something else. I think maybe one of the light tanks, we get a good hit, but it's not dead because these are armor-piercing shells, not high explosives. And as we're rolling down this ridge, some gunfire starts coming in, some 37mm flak, and it is getting close. And if these are explosive rounds, so if they shoot behind the tank, there's no armor. It'll just rip out the internals. So we've got to get behind this next ridge very quickly. Yes, it is very much jumping from ridge to ridge in this kind of bumpy, hilly ground, because we just can't be hit by too much, because we need to get these tanks up on top of that hill over there to take down the rest of their heavy tanks, and that will be no easy feat. Anyway, we roll the next tank over the ridge. I'm doing them one by one so I have better control. It starts letting off some shots, which is pretty good. We get a few hits even, I think, on another light tank. Those light tanks are out of range right now, their guns are out of range, but if we get over this next ridge, they'll start shooting at us. So it would be nice if they were mostly dead by the time we did that. So we're rolling through, but the flak fire will start again fairly soon, so we're not going to get many more shots on. But this has been pretty accurate. You can see we've got a few shots. But the 37 mils fly in, and they're exploding all around us. You saw that one shook the tank, because these are big. They won't do that much damage. You can see we took a direct hit, and it didn't kill us. but it did do some... if there'd been another one, it probably would have ripped off some armor panels and maybe even flipped the tank, which is the real issue. If these flip the tanks, then the tanks are fucked. We get another good hit in, but we get to safety behind that ridge because that 37mm is not messing around. The final tank goes over, again opening fire on some of these Mambas, which is our advantage now. This is pretty much our advantage zone, where there isn't a boa shooting at us long range, and there are very few things that can fire back at us. This is where we have the advantage. Over this next ridge, though, it'll probably be in the advantage of the Kruolans because they have light tanks, which are pretty deadly. Anyway, we start taking a few hits from the flak cannons, but you can see even direct hits will not strip off armor. A couple would, though, if they hit us, subsequently, but luckily we're just out of range for that to be a real problem. Anyway, all of the tanks, mostly alive, are down the second ridge and getting close to the Kruolan. So once again, we send up the very damaged now. It's taken many hits. Done it bravely, though. These are tough tanks, even though they're only mediums. Anyway, we send this over to the ridge to face the music of the light tanks, and yeah, sure enough, they start firing at us as we... oh, they haven't started firing yet. Oh, now they start firing. I kind of freak out and back down the ridge. Probably not the best policy, but eventually I do move back up the ridge to try and take these out. They open up pretty ridiculously, doing serious damage, but they do have to reload after 8 shots. So we try and push up the ridge a little more, try and return fire, try and take down these tanks, but more shots come in. They aren't massively accurate, but a few of them do hit and rip off the whole front of the tank, even at like 1.5 kilometers, which is their maximum range. They are incredibly deadly to medium tanks because they just put down so much fire. Luckily, though, they do have to reload, and we start getting some hits. We are taking hits, though, but we can't really move now, so we've just got to stand here, return fire, and hopefully kill some of these enemy tanks. And we're firing off more shots, but it doesn't look like that one was successful. And we're taking, again, more hits in the side. Luckily, I've maneuvered the tank into the side where there is still armor, but it will be shredded very soon. Because there is only one layer of armor everywhere except the front, where there is 2 layers of armor. But mercifully, we get a hit in and kill one of the light tanks. We're taking fire again, but we get a good hit on that light tank. And although we probably will be taking some more fire, we managed to kill it. And it is dead. But this tank, even though it's technically still alive, is out of commission. It's immobile, and it's probably not repairable. Yeah, and even after I do a little bit of DIY in the field of cutting off a few panels with my 30 cal of one of the other tanks, it's still not going to be moving anywhere. So this tank is down and out. But it fought bravely. It took hits from boas and mambas and 37 mils. It's a brave tank. But yeah, you can see it just isn't going anywhere. And even if it did, it has very little armor left. Anyway, I rush over the ridge with this next tank, expecting to be ripped apart by 37mm fire, and we will be in seconds. You can see it's coming in already, but we fired off a shot. We take a hit in the side, another hit, but we managed to destroy it. Oh no, we haven't. We managed to destroy it within a few shots, and mercifully this tank is alive. Now there are no more defenses stopping us getting up the ridge, so we start to head up the ridge, which is pretty hard because it's pretty steep. This is pretty much the only way we can get up this mountain, so we've pretty much been forced to go up here. We find some flat ground, though, where we can bring the other tank to meet us, and we prepare to assault the rest of the ridge, which will be so brutal. So anyway, we head over, and we see an emplacement, a 20 mil, but it's point blank range. We managed to get a shot, but it misses, and it turns. It starts shooting, but luckily I managed to get a shot in and managed to kill it before it does any serious damage. We did take some hits in the back of the tank. There is damage to the armor, and it looks like we take another shot over there to another emplacement, which is odd. Then after actually taking a break in real life, because this was so intense, I decided to go over this ridge. We actually didn't take out that thing over there, apparently. We take another shot and managed to hit it. We can see another emplacement right in front of us. I guess the camera elevation just allows that, whereas the tank currently can't see it, but hopefully it'll be able to take it down again before it shoots us, because that's a 20 mil. 20 mils are pretty vicious if you get close. But it looks like just easing forward, we get the shot off. Misses, but now we're in range. We brake so that we can get accurate shots, and it looks like we've almost taken it out. It's returning fire, but we managed to get a shot on and take it out. It's important not to move too much while taking on emplacements, because explosives can flip the tanks, and that can be really deadly if you're moving. But now Well, now there's one more in placement, actually, which we find pretty quickly. It's a 37mm unarmored, but it does have wing surfaces, so it'll be a little harder to take out. So we miss our first shot, as usual. We take another shot. It doesn't kill it. We start taking some 37mm, but it just doesn't do anything to this tank armor. And now it is just the heavy tanks. So we roll this tank up over this ridge, because we've already kind of spied it through camera elevation, and we roll towards the tank, the heavy tank over there. On the right, there is another one, so we will be taking a lot of fire. So I get the second tank to roll in as well. I'll be controlling this one, and we're going to try and get close to that tank. It opens up with its 50s, doing damage to our tank, but then when those need to reload, it opens up with its 86mm. Luckily not on me, it's on my, I guess not wingman, wheelman? I guess wheelman. But the other tank starts shooting at the other tank. There's too many tanks to just call them tanks now. But anyway, we start trying to get close to this, getting some shots on, taking a few hits. Actually, that's a 86mm shell. And we're going to try and circle this tank, because if we can be close enough, its gun won't be able to follow us, which is really important. We're going to Fury this shit. If you've seen that scene out of Fury, this is what I'm attempting to do here. That's most of what I know about tank combat. Anyway, yes, we get right behind it, and I want to shoot it in the back where its armor's weak, but we don't manage to do it. I'm taking hits from both sides, but this is a massively durable tank. It doesn't have a ton of armor, but it is well designed. It's ugly, but it's a brute. It cannot be killed particularly easily. We get another shot, and it looks like it rips off most of the front armor. We're really doing a number on this. He just can't seem to get shots off at me. Another hit rolls in, and he's looking pretty bad. But the tank I'm commanding decides it wants to shoot the other tank. The heavy tank gets flipped, but lands on its feet. All of its armor ripped off now. But the tank I'm commanding will not shoot at the unarmored bower. It wants to kill the other one. So I'm just circling, waiting for that gun to tear me apart. You can see it's already getting hits. That shot mercifully misses. But we are not going to be able to outrun this gun forever. The front two wheels aren't working in this entire piece of combat, so I can't drive fast enough to outrun the gun. I try and kind of coerce the guard mode into shooting at this tank, but it won't do it. It's going to shoot the other one. So I roll down here. I forget about this for now. It looks like my wheelman, as I'm calling him, is rolling down the hill because I didn't put the brakes on. So he's gone for now. It's just me against two bowers, which is going to be rough. But as I've said, these tanks are pretty tough. We rip off some armor and do a bit of a flip, but luckily land on our feet, much like the boa just now. But there are loose pieces of armor all over the place, and when we roll over here, we actually flip again, as you can see, but we manage to land on our feet, firing at nothing now. The tank's over the ridge, but this is in pretty bad straits. You can see there's nothing on the right side protecting the cockpit, so I'm facing the left side of my tank towards we take a hit in the back as well. We flip over again, but mercifully land on our feet. Well, our wheels. I don't know why I'm saying feet, but, you know. Anyway, there are holes all over this armor. There's no real safe place to do this, so I'm just going to try and bum rush this tank. I'm going to try and put a bullet in somewhere, put a shell in somewhere weak, but we don't. We hit the tank cannon, and then it starts turning, and that looks fucking terrifying, that giant tiger turret turning like that. We get a good hit in the back, but we rush past it, and the hill is too steep for us to be able to compensate, and we just roll down the hill. We get a good hit, but the 76mm rips off the whole back of the tank, because it's 86mm even. But yeah, the boa's gun is massive. We get another hit, but we take a hit to the turret. It's really a battle of who can reload first now, but luckily we get another shot. Oh no, but it's not dead, and it takes another hit at us, but eventually we get the final shot in, and the boa is dead. Yes, we managed to kill it, but this is totally immobilized. It can't move. Luckily, we have another tank rolling down the hill, quite a way. It's been rolling for ages. And yeah, we're going to head back up this ridge over there and finish off the final boa, because we need to win this, and this means there will be no invasion of Cathenia's Valley. We have done I've done a fantastic job. I'm great. But anyway, yes, so we rush towards this unarmored boa, assuming it will be an easy fight, but oh hell no, these boas will put up a fight to the bitter end. It shoots us with its 50s again, stripping off pieces of armor, actually almost flipping us, and then actually, we get a hit, and then we flip, as I thought I would. I'm on my head now, but I can still aim my gun. It fires again, ripping off a massive section of armor. We fire again, not killing it. It's really a battle again of who can reload first, but he's putting massive hits into me, ripping off armor. Just, oh god, but we get the final shot in. It kills the boa, and the day is ours. Well, almost. I need to flip this tank over because there's still another 20mm emplacement. So I use the gun to flip myself over to hunt down this 20mm. It might kill us. I mean, there's no armor on this. This is missing a lot of the tank. So yeah, but we do find it, and yeah, run right in front of it. It gets one shot of us, but we keep moving. We aim the gun before it can turn to shoot us, and we put a bullet right in the cockpit, and it is dead. So the day is ours now. And here are the victors, 2 totally ruined tanks, 1 almost ruined tank, which actually will be scrapped because I technically got a practice run on this. I accidentally did it and had 50 caliber machine guns on my tanks, which made it much easier for me, so I had to do it again, which means I did know where everything was, which gave me a pretty big advantage. You can see I was quite precise with killing things. So even the surviving tank will be scrapped. That's my decision because I think it's pretty unfair for my fuck-up to give me an advantage. So we did win, but I did have a bit of an advantage because I did it previously with 50 cals, and Penguin was like, yeah, that's cheating. I was like, yeah, I know, I read the rules wrong. But yes, we still win, we won, but we will be scrapping all of these tanks as a bit of a self-imposed penalty. But now it is time to move down south, because we are not done inexplicably. This took a long time to record all of those tank battles. But we have ships to attack. Yes, we are sending out 3 Corsairs off of our aircraft carrier, the USS Jupiter, to try and destroy a lot of Penguin's fleet in the south. And when I come to attack, I try to force my attackers to brave the AA fire by making them follow me and tell them to attack at the last second, but they aren't having any of it. And that AA cruiser just rips them apart before they can do pretty much anything. And when I have a good shot on that carrier, the controls screw up. I start to spin out like a crazy. I just can't line up a shot. Eventually, though, I do gain back control while all of the other Corsairs are dead, ripped apart by that light cruiser, and I managed to kind of get a shot off at the bow of the ship, or the bow of the that's the right one, and get ripped apart by gunfire because I'm very low to the ground. The bomb actually is pretty accurate considering how much trouble I had with that. But yeah, sadly, those Corsairs ripped apart with no damage to the fleet. But still, that will not mar the victories we have won today, because, well, it's glorious. But anyway, we form up the rest of the fleet. We bring 2 new cruisers and the other 2 cruisers we already had, now making 4 heavy cruisers. I've kind of forgotten their names because I have a lot of ships now. But yes, these will be guarding our southern oceans, hopefully stopping Penguin's fleet from getting too big. Maybe we'll do a proper assault at some point. But for now, they will just sit here, defending our shores. And talking of tank victories, here we are at our the end of the southern island chain, with 4 C2 Centaurs, an M3 Minotaur, 2 supply units, and we've moved our surviving Buzzard right down here for a little bit of defense. There's also 3 20mm emplacements, and these tanks are preparing to invade Azamek. These are the exact same tanks you saw take on a bunch of heavy tanks just now. These are beasts. Their armor is just madly effective. Their gun, while not as high caliber as Tigers, they are very fast firing, well, 13 rounds a minute, and they're pretty deadly. And they have a light tank in tow. So I think we will be more than capable of taking down Azamek, marching into Kruolan and winning this war. Yes, just look, when it looked like we had our backs against the wall, we turn it around. We'll be sending the attack. We'll be marching into Kruolan, and we will be winning this war, because we are Cathenians, goddammit. Anyway, talking of winning wars, here we are in Osiris Bay, looking at the wreckage from the airstrikes that slaughtered all of our tanks last time. Yeah, the north is pretty hurting, but this is a C2 Centaur. It has had its main gun destroyed, so it is beyond repair. But I have to say, the shell's in pretty good shape. This had a lot of bombs dropped on it, and once we get it flipped over, you'll see it's in surprisingly good shape. It will be scrapped because, gun destroyed, but the shell's pretty tough on these things. I think the actual shell is stronger than the gun, which is pretty rare in these kind of series. But anyway, we've also deployed ourselves a 40mm emplacement. We've also sent a supply unit to repair £3,000 worth of bomb damage. And yeah, so that's pretty good. There isn't a ton of defense. There's 2 3-inch emplacements, this emplacement, some bits of metal that were bombed, and this M3 Minotaur, which can't be repaired because we don't have any supply units. Still alive-ish. It's pretty hurting, but it has its gun, its wheels. It could do combat. But yeah, hopefully when the Kruolans roll into here, this will put up a little bit of a fight. But Osiris Bay is lacking in defenses because we sort of had to go and, win a fight on a mountain. But let's not dwell on our losses. Let's think about our victories. This is a supply unit heading towards the Northern Fleet, which won the battle for Osiris Fortress. And yeah, they'll need some supplies, so this is heading on after them because they're heading to Fengist. I think they are going to head to Fengist now. I think that's my plan. I'm kind of flip-flopping and telling Penguin different things to mess with his head because I'm evil. But yeah, this will be going there to, they'll need some more fuel to get to Fengist, so this is behind them in tow. And then the ships themselves have also moved forward 50 kilometers. The USS Mayfair, the USS Spartan, the USS Osiris, the USS Valiant, which is the little frigate over there, and the USS something else, there's another ship there. There's a lot of ship names and I've kind of forgotten them. But yes, this is the end of the video. It's been very successful. That tank battle, I think, went very well, even though I had a small advantage, obviously. But yeah, our Cathenian tanks, they are really made of sterner stuff, are they not? But yes, the video is over now, and if you want to go check out a couple more videos, there is my most recent episode of Road to Colonization, in which we launch a Duna freighter. Yes, a freighter that will be freighting things to Duna, because that's what I do. I'm a space trucker. There's also my first episode of Season 2 of Prison Architect, in which we build our super max fortress, where we'd keep, Kruolans if we could, if that was a feature in Prison Architect. But there's also links to my Twitter, Twitch, and Patreon in the description if you're interested. But as always, I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been Caspi with Tape. I'll see you next time.